Good afternoon, everybody. This is Nilanjana from People Matters, and we are back with another exciting session of our webcast in partnership with ekincare on the topic defining an ROI-based employee well-being strategy for 2020. Public awareness of the importance of a healthy workplace and well-being is growing, as is the moral, societal, and business case for improving it. Yet, despite this, many employers experience numerous challenges in improving their performance in supporting employee mental health and well-being. To accentuate on the paramountcy of a right to well-being strategy that brings ROI to both employees and the organization's health, People Matters in partnership with ekincare brings to you a webcast on defining an ROI-based employee well-being strategy for 2020 under the hashtag Pledge for Health campaign, which will reflect on why your well-being programs are not working. What are the focus areas one should consider before crafting and implementing a well-being strategy? How to decide on matrices that gauge the success of both employees and the organization's health, and how to drive ROI from your well-being program. I take the pleasure to invite and introduce the speakers for today. We have with us Mr. Sudhir Mateti, Head HR Central Telecom. Sudhir has over 2 decades of experience in HR gamut, which began with training. His strength lies in effectively delivering the entire gamut of HR and the ease of managing the essence of touching each employee's life through counseling, coaching, guiding, and mentoring. He is an enthusiastic sports person, trainer, cyclist, and martial arts practitioner. Welcome, Sudhir.
Thank you. Welcome.
We also have with us Sheikh, AVP Marketing ekincare. Trilok is an experienced marketer with a demonstrated history of working in the health, wellness, and fitness industry. His strength lies in negotiations, analytics, sales, marketing research, and management. Trilok is a strong marketing professional with a Masters of Business Administration focused on marketing and operations management from London School of Business. Welcome, Trilok.
Hi. Hi, hello.
Our partner for today's webcast is ekincare. ekincare brings together the offline healthcare services, data analytics, and technology to fundamentally change the corporate health program. They are a patent-pending integrated health benefit platform, helping organizations save up to 25% of healthcare costs and lowering their health insurance premiums. We have saved time for you all to ask the questions at the end of the webcast. For those who are watching us live, simply submit or post your questions at any time during the session. We will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. So we have an exciting session to discuss in today's webcast. So without any further ado, let me invite you to take over. Over to you.
Hello, hi. Thanks, Nilanjana. Hi, Sudhir. How are you?
Hi, Trilok.
Great. So, Sudhir, as we discussed for the benefit of the listeners as well of this webinar, I'll just set some context in terms of what we are looking for the industry, what are the trends that are going on in this space, and then we can get into some of the guiding questions for the conversation as we take it along. Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect. So, as most of us know who are part of this webinar as well in the HR space, health issues, especially chronic diseases, are at an increasing rate across all the corporates that we have today in India. Almost 1 in 2 employees in India Inc. are at risk of some of the other health issues, the likes of obesity, diabetes, heart health, and various other things. And with the rise of the mentioning of mental wellness and recognizing that as an issue as well, issues like depression, anxiety, and other things, and burnout, and all those things are also coming into the focus right now. And all of this is increasing costs in the healthcare side. In terms of all of you already might be experiencing anywhere between 7 to 15% increase in your medical premiums on a year-to-year basis, and average hospitalization costs are also on the rise across India as well. Because of this, health and preventive health, especially as part of the corporate health benefits budget in the HR portfolio, is at an increase. Has an increased focus among the HR community as well. There are multiple discounts on premiums being provided by IRDA, and there was actually a report by ASSOCHAM India which said that every 1 rupee spent on corporate wellness programs can actually reduce healthcare costs by about 6.6 rupees. And that with such a huge impact, no wonder health and productivity is part of the core component across organizations as part of their health, as part of their HR strategy. So, this being the context to set about the discussion for today, the point is, while companies understand that as part of their HR portfolio, health and health benefits should be a key component, how do you measure it? How do you track it? How do you ensure that money spent there is being well utilized and going in the right direction? Which is where I would pick up the first question for the conversation in terms of what are the common problems in today's corporate well-being programs. Over to you, Sudhir. Just wanted to understand some insights from your side into this.
Okay. Trilok, thank you so much. Let me try to answer this question. The most common problem that I see today is people are not very conscious about their well-being. Employees always feel that if it's a common syndrome that they take a yearly membership for a gym and they hit the gym only once in a month. It's if you look at the trends also, the yearly membership of the gym goes only in the January month because of the New Year resolution.
True.
Then it falls down. A conscious awareness about well-being is one of the major problem. And what we corporates realize that even after giving a lot of facilities, whether it is gymming, whether it is yoga or whatever initiative that we take towards well-being, the percentage of attendance is very low. And it goes on dipping, and finally at the end the program is shut down. So one of the key challenges is there is no work-life balance. People are working hard and they are stressed, and the value of well-being is not understood well.
Correct. Actually, the next slide that I have actually talks about something in the similar space, right? Almost 19% of the HRs in a study that we did said that the employee adoption and engagement is a key problem. And that actually comes from the fact that the programs are not personalized for every individual. Amongst the two of us, I'm sure how we define health and wellness is very different amongst the two of us, right? For you, it could be taking care of your family members. I'm assuming there is a similar kind of a trend across the end users as well. Do you see a similar trend across your employees as well?
Yes, I see. We have various age groups of employees. Employees fall under various age group categories, and everybody's understanding. If I ask a simple question, what do you understand by the term fitness? Everybody's definition of fitness is different.
Correct.
For someone, if he could run 100 meters sprint, he would say that I am fit. For someone who feels that if I am not exhausted at the end of the day, I am fit. For someone who feels that because I drink a lot of water, I am fit. So the basic understanding of fitness is different, and every age group has a different mindset. Hello.
Yeah, so you're audible now.
Yeah. So it is the program, the wellness program. Let's say we arrange a yoga program for the well-being. But then I see the category of people who come to the program are one category. The youngsters may not be interested. Probably they would be interested in Zumba. So a standard program doesn't work today. That is one of the biggest challenge.
True. So this is something that we see across our base as well. Internally at ekincare, when we are catering to around 200 plus corporates in India, we have a very unique way of how we differentiate our end audience and segment them. The first segment is employees who are in their late 20s, recent people who joined the workforce, late 20s, early 30s, who are single, maybe recently married. We call them as the invincibles. Basically, they are people who feel that मैं मेरे को कुछ नहीं हो सकता is the thought process that people have in
Yes.
their mind. These guys are not into annual health checkups. They don't. They might have not visited a doctor in the last 6 months, but they're really into gyms. They're really into fitness activities. They track their steps on a regular basis. They exactly know what kind of food they eat. They're very proactive in that part of the mindset. Which is around 49-50% of our base as of now. This is the Gen Z which has entered into the workforce recently. The second segment is what we call it as the first responders. These are employees in their late 30s, early 40s who might have who are recently married, have kids, who have dependents in their family members, may have recently witnessed a health emergency in their family member, right? A parent or a senior member in their family has undergone a health issue. These are people who think, what if something happens to me? They are more into adding of family members, taking care of their relatives, into preventive healthcare, more in the wellness side of it. This is around another 45% of our base. And the final segment is what we call it as the chronic care. They're late 40s and above. They've just have already know that they have a lifestyle issue. They may know that they're diabetic. They may know that they have a heart-related issue, and they want to just manage that health issue and ensure that their expenses are under control. A very interesting fact here is in India, an average Indian spends anywhere around 5,000 to 8,000 rupees per month on their healthcare cost alone out of pocket. And this is something which is not covered under the insurance that is provided at an individual level or at a corporate level.
Correct.
So one of the things what we have seen is at ekincare we provide multiple health benefits like ordering medications, booking of health checkups for your family members, out-of-pocket services, and they are something which are used on a regular basis amongst the employees, basis their age segments and other things, which is really helpful for the employees as well.
Correct.
Sudhir, moving on to the next question. As an HR, what would you call as the key elements that go into a well-being program for your employees?
See, one of the key elements is first bringing awareness. There's a very awareness in the industry about fitness and well-being. Maybe well-being does not only mean physical well-being; it also means mental well-being.
True.
One of the cause of illness is stress, and in the corporate world, stress mounts to a larger portion of the gray area. There's a lot of stress. People work late hours. There is no work-life balance, and the traffic, the city chaos, infrastructure adds to this. If you look at any big city, usually an employee spends around 2 to 2.5 hours traveling every day. Unlike the leading tier 1 software companies where they have work from home facility, otherwise most of the employees who travel, especially in the manufacturing and the other service industry, people have to travel to workplaces, and the huge traffic and low infrastructure in the city mounts to their stress over and above their performance issues, the organizational challenges, the other different professional challenges, correct? Which is one of the key elements of people not being fit or not being well, and people don't realize the importance of this. If I look at it recently, I have observed that a lot of people now need counselors. A lot of people go to professional counselors, probably psychiatrists, so that they understand their thought process, and a mental well-being is a new color to the entire picture. So one of the key parameters that I'm again focusing on is probably bringing awareness to people that this is one of the area where we need to focus. While I also see a lot of employees, their sitting posture, their body postures are not right. All jobs require huge hours of sitting and working on a software program, and if they are sitting in the wrong posture for donkey hours of time, then it is difficult for them to, correct their postures. Plus the entire healthy eating lifestyles. Today, everything Uber, Ola, whatever, or Swiggy, Zomato, whatever you order, it appears fancy, but where they order from, what are the hygiene issues, are they good enough for the taste? But they're excellent. but we really don't know whether they are healthy enough or not. So I think overall, from a well-being perspective, the key element is bringing awareness of what's good for them and what's not good for them.
Nice. Very well put, Sudhir. One of the things that we saw at some of our corporates is usually HRs tend to have maybe different vendors for each of these services that you mentioned. Basically, you have somebody to help you with fitness services. Some an HR may have some other vendor for physical wellness, like doctor consultations or health checkups and various things. There might be a separate vendor for mental wellness, and this is where the awareness bit comes into the picture, right? Every vendor is fighting for the same top of the mind awareness among the employees, where everyone is regularly bombarding the end users, but it is not at a personalized level, which goes back to the point that we were just looking at in terms of how every individual might be in a different segment, might have a different requirement when it comes to health. So you put it quite well that fitness, nutrition, physical health, mental health, all of them come together as part of a health benefits program.
Correct.
The second point around as an HR or as the administrator of these programs, the other point which ideally would be required from an HR's point of view would be analytics and insights into this program, something like a real-time data feed in terms of what the health risk, what issues are there at every organization, and ensuring that the ROI or the money spent is actually known, that where it is spent and how it is spent at. So can you elaborate a little bit on that side in terms of how, as in from the HR's point of view, when it comes to the budgets around healthcare of health of employees, how do you go around doing that part of it?
See, budget is always a constraint. Currently, when the economy is a little slowed down, again, it has, made it a larger task now, Herculean task to take out more budget from the management. But overall, from long years, we are always being preventive or reactive. Having a mediclaim insurance is something that we feel that we are doing something great for the well-being, but that's not enough. And every year on year, we see the cost of mediclaim rises very high. The claim ratio percentage overall is around 100-120%. So the next year, I'm sure it's going to be very high. And what I also see is that the advantage of these preventive is not seen. It's no advantage. It's a reactive approach. In fact, there should be something which is done, that people should not go to the doctors. People should not go to the hospitals. We need to do something in this space where the mental well-being and the physical well-being is taken care. In fact, last year I was thinking, can we have a day where people don't bring their cars and bikes and they cycle? One day they cycle to office. One day they walk to office or something like that, where we encourage people to indulge themselves into some physical activity, and when they group together, walk or cycle together, they talk a little. They have lighter moments, better moments, and while there's some sweating or some calories burn that they do. Also, generally, in terms of cafeterias and the food vendors, when we change, it is only when the employees complain about either the hygiene or the taste buds being monotone. A vendor is always changed because of these parameters. And again, there's a price constraint. We have to subsidize food for the employees. And when we put down the price constraint, obviously hygiene and good quality food is taken a back seat. So it's a catch-20 situation where price also is a factor, where quality is also a factor. So all the vendors that I have seen, food vendors who give quality foods, are always priced a little premium, and that is where they are rejected. So which means vendors who are rejected are basically the ones who should have given the food to the employees. So there are areas where finally it gets connected to the budget, and finally it's shot down because we don't have that much budget. And secondly, HR is a support function and it is not a revenue generating. So it's all again coming back to the revenue and making the most of the revenue that we invest on the employee well-being.
Good point there, Sudhir. One interesting example is ekincare is working with one of India's largest logistics company. Basis after 3-4 months of working with them, one of the things that we noticed was in one of their offices in Delhi, in a specific shift, that is the second shift, the B shift of their employees, there was a really high incidence of obesity and lipid profile related metrics, health metrics were way off the average points. And when we dug deeper and deeper into what was causing this issue, we realized that the employees come in the second half of the day, hit their cafeteria in the evening, where they are served fried food like samosa and other things. Because of
Correct.
that diet issues, their entire segment of employees was bad on their health side of it. We actually helped them organize a cafeteria audit and help them sort this part out. And
Correct.
in the same organization, and other side of it was their employees in the shop floor in the warehouses had really high hypertension. And then instead of doing something to sort out as a yoga session only for all their employees, we did it only for this segment of employees which is there in that specific segment of people who are there in the shop floor of their logistic warehouses. And then that has actually helped us uh, manage utilization, because everybody knows that it is something that is required and that is a common problem amongst them where people feel stressed out. So that takes care of the utilization, and also in terms of the outcomes where over time we actually see those health scores improving.
Correct. Correct. And one more important point to look here is department wise or probably organization work pattern wise also there is a program which could be designed exclusively. For example, people who are working in front of the system for long hours, they need a different program versus people who are working in a call center who are always talking on the phone to attending customers, they probably need a different program. You know?
True, very true. And that is where the management of the budget comes in, right? Rather than spend the same amount of money for the same set of services for everybody, as an HR, those services can be modified for every segment. A person who is sitting in front of the computer throughout the day could be provided something around ergonomics and taking care of their eyesight and other things, versus somebody who is working, let's say, in the finance team, who is regularly might have more of stress and other things. They could be provided a separate set of services.
Absolutely right.
And
And
interesting
sorry, yeah, please go
and
ahead.
this study here is a client of ours in Bangalore, where we provide something called a flexi health benefits platform,
Okay.
where a huge multiple set of services across all these benefits are provided to all the employees. And the employee can pick and choose which set of service that they want to, can create their own health benefits package, something similar to the flexi benefits in as part of their salary packages, which is available out there. So
Okay.
that actually helped increase the utilization by about 3 times their average utilization at their organization, and also decrease their expenditure by about 70% on the health benefit services that they were providing.
Okay. What you know, what I was thinking was, what if we can have a dietitian arranged for an organization where a dietitian programs the entire diet for all employees, and
Mhm.
not only employees, extend it to their families as well, so that at least the input goes right, and similarly the input also goes to the cafeteria and the organization food vendors, so that they are also in line with the program or general health awareness food or general healthy food supplied to them. You know, even if a coffee vending machine or a tea vending machine has high sugar output, it may lead to something chronic.
True, very true, very true. And just taking that point further, why just a nutritionist? Because a doctor, a nutritionist, a counselor, all these services should be available to all the employees, ideally anytime when they want. It could be an online platform where all those services are available 24/7, where the employee can reach out to them whenever they want some service, or it could actually be organized at the organization as well, by driving where the employees can reach out to them. For example, a health coach program typically that we run through ekincare platform includes all these three services, which is doctors for physical health, fitness-related fitness counselors, and nutrition or food-related stuff, which is a nutritionist on the platform. So because physical health, food, and exercise, all three of them put together are the three pillars for the health of an individual. So all these three services should be available for the employees and their dependents as well.
Okay. What happens?
Interestingly,
Sorry to interrupt. One roadblock here is when you talk about engaging employees into a well-being program, generally people from the face value take it as boring. I,
Mhm.
they are not very proactive or positive about. They always think again, this is one more program that an HR has pitched in, as a part of their calendar, and they just want to take off the calendar at the end of the year. So this is the general employee mindset from from their perspective. From the HR perspective, we really want to bring a change in their lifestyle and make them live a healthy life. Correct. So
True.
what can if we can induce, let's say, given a choice of hitting a gym versus playing a sports competition where they are involved physically, the
Yeah.
second is more interesting than hitting a gym because there is a competitive spirit. People are together. They are working out in a sports fun game. So where fun and workout is joined together. That's why all
Right.
these programs, outdoor programs where we take them out for a team building activity or any other activity works well and we get positive feedback. But the challenge is this is one odd program in a year. It cannot be a year-on program. Correct? So anything that you can put light on this aspect, Trilok?
Yeah. You very well pointed out that a lot of these on-site activities cannot be done regularly, right? It is usually a one-off activity, either begin once at the max once every quarter, and not more than that is possible. That's where digital platforms come into the picture, where a lot of these things can be done online through a platform like ekincare. An example of that is we just concluded an all ekincare stepathon, which we call it as a Step It Up challenge. In the month of in the month of January, over 21 days, we had around 100 corporates participating. 320 million steps were taken by employees pan India. 14 million calories were burnt within those 21 days across all the employees. And competitions like this, post which we give out awards to people as points on the platform, free discounts on various services on the platform. And those are some of the things which are health nudges towards every individual. And making health fun is something what a platform through a mobile app can actually help doing.
Okay. See, these days, if you look at Trilok, marathons are the in thing. Everybody,
Yeah.
people are running. But to be honest, if I look at it, only 5% of my employees are worried about their health.
Correct.
95% of the employees are only worry about what they worry about their pay packet and all those other materialistic operations of life.
Yeah.
I have not received a single employee complaint saying that the gym is not functioning or no one said that the yoga teacher has not come. They always say that when will my pay packet get increased?
True.
So this is one area that I think it's like an insurance. When we provide a medical insurance, very few employees have their own personal medical insurance. The awareness and the importance of having a medical insurance or probably the life insurance is very minuscule. People take it as a burden and people don't take it as an investment. Similarly, health also, only people who are young, where they have the capacity to work, they are stretching and they are taking a lot of stress on their health. I just want to re-emphasize on this point that we should have certain programs which will bring awareness to them and the impact and the positive effect if they engage themselves in their well-being programs.
True. And that kind of segues us into the next question anyway about what are the considerations that go into designing a well-being program, right? As you mentioned about how can we ensure that the utilization of these services, because end of the day, when a health benefit is being provided, how can we ensure that they are actually useful to the end user, to the employees, and the employees use them as well, which is where what we do through ekincare is we look at the metrics at every organization and go beyond just utilization. For example,
Okay.
what you see on the screen as of right now is something that sample data that we have pulled out from the ekincare dashboard for a sample company client that we have. So as you can see here, we get insights like 19% of this organization is hypertensive, 24% of them have a cardiovascular disease related risk, and 15% of them are obese. And this data is collected across every service that is available on the ekincare. So every time an employee logs in, the first time an employee logs into the ekincare platform, they fill up something called a health risk assessment, which takes basic information about the individual. And then
Okay.
after that, if the individual does a health checkup, obviously, let's say the first time I fill up the risk assessment, as you mentioned, right, I will say that I'm really fit, I have no health issues and other things. But then since the platform syncs with my wearable, and if I'm not taking the right number of steps, my health score decreases. And if I go for an annual health checkup, my sugar levels are off the risk, are at a risk. My health score decreases, and I get tagged as a person who is in risk for diabetes. So all of this is real time and dynamic on the ekincare platform, and this is the dashboard kind of information that is provided, based on which the entire annual calendar for well-being and benefits can be customized based on these things. So as you can see here, for this client, we would go back to them and say that, okay, obesity is something on a high. There is a risk for heart-related issues. So we should plan health talks at your organization for this specific segment by a cardiologist, telling them how to take care of their health issues. We should run a weight management program for their employees where they can manage their obesity. And there should be yoga sessions and some fun engagement activities like bhangra or dance sessions and other things to take care of the hypertension part. And these are not one-off activities that are planned, but these would be regular activities throughout the year, both on-site and some fun engagement activities on the platform as there, which run regularly, so that over time we go back and refer back to these numbers to see whether these numbers are improving over time or not. And that's where the ROI factor comes in. If these numbers don't improve, we are actually able to say that the programs are not working, and we can course correct accordingly.
Okay. See, Trilok, one important point that I want to share here is
Yeah.
whenever the organization has pitched in and made it mandatory or pushed employees to go for the interesting program, the biggest
Yeah.
challenge when they attend the program, they will understand how interesting it is.
Correct.
The first time to bring them to that platform is the biggest challenge.
Very true.
If they attend it once, probably they may get the flavor of it, and then they may be, encouraged. It will be encouraging for them to join again. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
My first question to you: how should we do? What should we do so that the first timer who comes to the program, that number is a real high number? What can be done here, Trilok?
Yeah. So internally, I'll give you an example from what we do at ekincare again now. So whenever a new company signs up with us, we take care of all the communications in terms of mails, SMSs, push notifications on the app, and we do work with the HR team of our clients to set up on-site branding and collaterals that are put up, like standees, posters, danglers, lift branding. These are activities that we do to increase top-of-the-mind awareness amongst the employees, so that the employees know that they have a platform like ekincare where they can log in and they can chat with a doctor or order medicines or book health checkups and other things. And one unique thing that we do at ekincare is we have something called we have an AI-driven customer CRM tool that we use internally, where the communication is very personalized and customized to every individual. So based on an activity that an employee does or hasn't done, there are regular reminders and nudges for that individual to do it. Because of this, at our clients, the health check utilization is almost around 65% on their annual health checkups utilization. Along with this, we track an internal score called monthly active users. On our basis, what percentage of employees are regularly active on a monthly basis? We are trending almost at 60 to 70% in that numbers as well. So what we have is a very highly engaged base, primarily because we are able to communicate to them at an individualized and a personalized method based on their age, based on their health demographics, and based on their need. So, for example, if an individual chats with a doctor and the doctor has given them a prescription, the platform reminds them that you can order it on the app. After a week, the employee is again reminded, okay, are you doing well? Is there any further help that is required? So all these kind of communications, nudges, all of those headaches are primarily taken over from the HR mind, and we take care of that side of it.
Okay, okay.
So, those activities actually help in increasing more employees on the platform, making them aware that these services are available, and two, ensuring that they use the services basis when they want to use it.
Okay, okay. See, let me tell you one more idea which can build traction is if
Mhm.
we ask employees to co-pay certain amount of money
True.
instead of
Yeah.
giving it totally free, I,
Mhm.
at least from a point of utilizing what they have paid, they will attend the program to a larger percentile.
True. We have a client again based out of Bangalore. About 150 employees are participating in a health coach weight management program. Uh, we have 96% adherence there. In
Oh,
terms of in a 3 month program, 96% of employees actually went through the entire 3 months of program. Primarily because while the basic platform and some of the services were provided for free for their employees, the actual weight management program was a co-pay basis where the employer paid half of it and the employee paid half of it. And because there is skin in the game for both the players, the employees actually used to reach out to us saying when is the next set of activity, how can we participate in it, and they reached out to us to reschedule some of their activities and ensure that they are actually availing the full benefit.
correct. What we can do here, Trilok, instant thought is that we
Mhm.
can incentivize people who are performers or who are doing really great or who can be role models in this program.
Yeah.
So what
Something
we
like a
can
health champion in the organization.
correct, correct. So what happens that he not only gets popular and he also gets probably a coach kind of role that he plays and he engages more people, he brings in more employees together with him. And also if we incentivize him, that also motivates him to do better.
True. Actually, that is one of the things, very interesting point that you mentioned. We usually inform all of our clients that one is an employee who is very much interested into health, maybe a marathon runner, maybe a fitness enthusiast who hits the gym regularly as a health champion amongst the employees. And also in the HR team, also we usually ask for a champion or a spock from the HR team as well, who carries these metrics as part of their KRA, which is actually very important because most of the HR teams, there is one person who is leading L&D, the
Absolutely.
learning and development. There is one person who is leading recruitment. There is one person who is leading employee engagement activities. What about health? Usually it is a stepchild under someone else who manages this portfolio as well, but ideally there should be one person who is looking tracking the metrics around it and also measuring the outcome from well-being programs, which
Correct.
brings us to the other point of it, which is around the measurable outcomes around the well-being program. How do you how it makes sense to measure it? So
See,
this
for
is what
this
is
Trello, for this Trello, what I feel is data points are very important.
correct.
Current systems are not very strong enough to capture these data points,
True.
unless
True.
we have a strong data point. And again, all these data points also can be relative. For example, my blood pressure level, what we understand is what is an average blood pressure level. There
Hmm.
are people whom a little higher blood pressure is also normal. and there are some people for whom a little lower blood pressure is also normal.
Correct.
Similarly, all these numbers which we call as a normal range is again a relative comparison.
Very
Correct?
true.
First, understanding of these data points, and secondly, having these data points on the HR dashboard. If these can be worked out, then probably we can look at utilization or ROI or probably application of all these to a betterment of the employees.
Exactly, exactly. ekincare actually holds 4 patents in this space, where we digitize a health check report, where we digitize medical reports. So today, if, one of the primary issues in the healthcare industry in India is it is very disparate, and each player is is not integrated with each other. So if you go to, let's say, a health checkup at a diagnostic center versus a different hospital, the reports are completely different. It always becomes very difficult to understand what the report means. Uh,
Correct.
Sugar level may be 100 mg per mmol, or someone else may say 50 milligrams per deciliter. How does
Correct.
an layman make sense of all these numbers is a major question. What ekincare does is, you just upload a report on the platform. We digitize it completely. When we say digitize, we pick up the right metrics, right baseline, compare it against 10 million plus data points that are there on that are already collected on the platform over the years. There is an AI analysis that runs on top of it. There is a machine learning system that we have built over time, and then the baselines are managed based on an individual's demographic. As you correctly mentioned, a person who is 40-year-old may have different BP metrics as normal versus someone who is 20, 25-year-old. So how do we take care of all those metrics is what ekincare does. And we aggregate all that health score at an individual level for a company and present it as an aggregated health score for every corporate as well. And that number is what we track as a success metric. How many people are using the platform as utilization, and we go beyond it to measure the health score as well of a company.
Okay. See, similarly, what I see is the consumption of water. People in the organization who are working on a desk job, they tend to drink very less water than the people who are on the field. You know, it's a
Yeah.
general observation in my organization that I'm stating here, not generic overall, but in my organization, I see people at a desk job drink less water, and they
Hmm.
drink more tea and coffee versus water, you know. So
Correct.
again,
Correct.
uh, this is again a lifestyle habit related issue. And third most important point is when you said obesity. Obesity is a very common problem these days.
Yeah.
And those people who are obese, yes, when we ask them, they go into a program vigorously, but for a small tenure, and again they either give it up or it's a temporary phase. They are not consistently aware that their weight should be under control because obesity is the mother of all problems. But it's a temporary drive. It fades off, and again they pick up any random program from the market which may not be good for their health. They starve a lot. They do whatnot, which is not designed perfectly for their health, and at the end they'll
True.
end up
True.
back to
True.
square one.
Hmm. So, and we one of the things that we say is that a health coach program is not just managing a diet. Diet also should be combined with the health of an individual as well, right? A person with some health issues should not be following a random diet, but it should tie up to that individual's health as well, which is where the integrated component of all these health services comes into the picture. So if a person is undergoing a diet program, that diet should be built based on that individual health, medical health history as well. So if a person has diabetes, he or she should be following a separate health coach program versus someone who is, let's say, has a hypertension related problem. So all these services should be tied up to each other, which is something that what ekincare does. So if you chat with a doctor, the doctor knows your health history, and the doctor is able to cater to these questions in a correct manner and is able to manage it properly.
And Trilo, one more important point. Last 24 years in the professional career, I have not seen a single pre-employment medical checkup report which was alarming. Can you
Wow.
I have all 24 years of pre-employment medical checkup. All employees are fit. Do you buy this logic? No. So what
So,
we do is
correct.
that either the reports are not meeting the standards, or the HR department's ability to read that report, probably, or it is only a manual work that the report is done, that Excel sheet task done, it's filed in the employee file and it's gone there. So what's the use of a report if that is not utilized for the well-being? Whether it is a pre-employment medical checkup or a yearly medical checkup, whichever. It's only a checkup done. What's the utilization of?
Exactly. What is it after that?
Yes.
Which goes back to the point that I was mentioning before. So, employee health is not a one-off activity. Once the annual health checkup is completed, what we do with those reports, how do we help an individual to improve their health? Which brings us back to the conversation around budget that you were mentioning some time back, right? When we have a limited amount of budget, once the annual health checkup is done, how are we able to customize the program for the people who are in the red, amber, and green zone of those health check reports? Would we be able to allocate a portion of that budget, a higher portion of that budget, to people who are in the red, because they need additional care, additional support to improve their health as well? So a client in Hyderabad, whose offices are in Hyderabad and Vizag, what they do is they complete the health risk assessment. They have an annual health checkup, post which a specific set of employees who are in the red and amber zone, based on the analytics on ekincare platform, are then nominated for something called a health coach program, where they can join in, which is a 6 months program on the platform. Only those employees are eligible for it, because as part of their budget, those employees are provided these programs for free. And because of this personalized part of it, over time, they're actually able to help these employees to improve their health as well. And we are tracking real-time health outcomes like improvement in sugar profile, improvement in heart rate, improvement in BP, and other metrics as well.
Correct. See, secondly, what happens is, if we can have these medical reports in a fashion where the HR can understand in layman's language,
Correct.
where they can understand, and where if we can design an employee engagement program which is not only fun but also which is related to the well-being, then it will have a twin-fold benefit.
Correct.
Currently, engagement programs actually mean only fun. It does not mean well-being.
True.
So if we can somehow, collaborate and mix everything together, which will make it interesting for the people to attend, while their well-being is also taken care, while the cost also is, taken care of. If everything falls in together, then I think it is a win-win situation for the employees and the organization.
True. I'll actually show you something called a corporate dashboard that we provide to our clients, a demo version of it, which is something very interesting in terms of the health metrics that we provide for corporates. I hope you can see the screen. Yeah. So what we provide is in terms of what are the wellness scores, how many employees have done the health checkups, and specific reports in terms of every individual's health metrics, by age group, by male, female, and other things, so that employees can actually, as an HR, specifically which segment to target, which age group to target, and how to improve the health score of those, how to plan activities to improve that that specific segment's health improvement over time.
Correct. See,
we are able to go down to which department, which location has a health-related issue across their employee base.
Yes. See, I'll quote one example here, Trilok. Yesterday only one of my employee came to me and she said, what is the maternity, hospitalization entitlement that we employees have in case of delivery or in case of cesarean delivery? Asked me this question and my answer was, what you should do to get a normal delivery, are you aware about that?
True.
worrying about what is the employee entitlement for a cesarean delivery or a normal delivery, I think you should be worried about what should I do in my, pregnancy time that I deliver a healthy baby normally. Correct?
True.
So I think programs where we educate them what they should do for a well-being, it's not only about spending money or cost or entitlement, it's about their well-being. If the mother is healthy, if the child is healthy post-delivery, it's a very healthy scene. And my concern is not, yeah, money is one aspect, but the most important aspect is she's going to be a mother and it's a very, it's a biggest moment of her life and she should be healthy, you know. So
Correct.
can we categorize employees like that and probably coach them to be a better mother or to be better at health, probably a newlywed educate them towards their course of life so that they become more healthy. we,
True.
we see these days even there are malpractices in the medical industry as well. Even if there is a normal delivery, for financial gains it is termed as a cesarean or so and so forth. Correct. So if there is awareness, education, and benefits of well-being given to them through either training programs or to conferences or health programs, I think this is where we should begin with.
Yeah, got it. Something I think we are reaching the end of the conversation as well. We have about 10 minutes. We can start taking some of the
Okay.
questions we're getting.
Okay. Sure.
We have Miss Kuju, who is asking how to make employee well-being program interesting for everyone to participate. Kuju, we covered that question some time back in terms of in terms of bringing in devices like wearables, which is very hip today, as Fitbit, where employees can participate as an individual or as create teams among themselves, run engagement programs like activities on site. Basically, to make a program interesting for an employee, it should also be customized for that employee's need. If you're answering the requirement of the employee, then of course the utilization is also going to be high. Which goes to the next question by Ninad Joshi, who is saying that they're observing that the effectiveness of some of the present employee well-being activities is very low. So they want to stop these activities and utilize the budget on other well-being activities. Is it very difficult to make labor understand ROI of these activities? Ninad, understand your point. It comes down to which benefit to be provided to which set of employees, where a flexi benefit kind of a model makes the most sense, where all these benefits covering health checkups, doctor consult, dental, vision care, health checkups, all of those things are put together and the employee is given the power to pick and choose what they want. That way, the utilization is high and the actual effectiveness in terms of real health outcomes is also high. So you need to talk to somebody who, like ekincare, who can help you come up with those programs. We have a question. Yes, please go ahead.
So I have another question coming up that is about, so data privacy is an important concern while using well-being technologies. So any insight around how we can use that data in a better way?
Yes. So data privacy is a very, very, very important concern especially when we are handling health-related data. About ekincare, we are ISO 27001 certified. The individual's health data is taken care of across all technical side, where it is encrypted, the data security and privacy is taken care of, where even the HR or insurance company or ekincare does not have access to any individual health data. All that the HR gets to see is population level insights, like X percentage of employees male in Mumbai have a propensity for diabetes in the next 1 year. So nobody knows that, yes, it is Trilok who specifically has diabetes, or Mr. or Miss who has a health issue. It is overall at a percentage level, at an audience level, which is there. For an individual, the platform provides nudges similar to how basis the backend data points. The individual gets various nudges based on the individual's personalized health journey to improve their health overall.
Okay. Okay. Moving to the next question. How can one strategize a well-being program for a multi-generational workforce, considering that we have working population that includes both, baby boomers, millennials, and now Gen Zs?
Yeah, again, I think that is something that we discussed some time back as well. It goes down to understanding what the requirement of every segment is. Uh, Looking down deeper into that, the specific segment of baby boomers alone has different health requirements based on gender, based on family size, and other things. So, the more personalized the health benefits are for the employees, the better the program utilization is going to be, and better the actual health outcomes from that is going to be.
And also, Trilok, here preferences also may matter. Probably I may prefer to do cycling and my colleague may prefer to do swimming.
True, exactly.
So I have another question coming from Prachi. Is ROI the only right way to measure the success of a well-being program?
Uh, Ideally, yes. ROI, I would say that ROI would be broken down into a couple of more metrics. When we are measuring the ROI, it is about while utilization will be one of the metrics in terms of how many employees are using the benefits, we also look at actual health outcomes. As a company, is the health of the company overall improving over time or not? Which benefit is actually impacting the health score of a corporate and individual employees is something that we look at to say, figure this part out.
Okay, all right. Moving to the next question, it comes from Momita Das. Considering diversity in LGBTQ aspect, what measures should be considered while considering wellness program? For example, the slides or the information shown in the dashboard shouldn't be gender specified.
Mamita, very good point. This is something that we are seeing across all of our clients and other places. We have actually introduced the gender and non-specific gender as well as part of the backend database that we are building into and managing it. Having said that, gender in today's healthcare ecosystem, gender is one of the key metrics, key data points which goes into everything. Like either it could be insurance premium calculations, and other things as well. From the HR point of view, most of the programs that we help organizations conduct are around creating awareness and takes care of the LGBTQ aspect as well. Sudhir, any data points from your side in this side?
No, not much here. But yes, what you said is gender is one data point which is the basis on which the program can be designed. You know?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
All right. So I have a last question that is for both of you. So if you had to list down top three healthy living mantras that you follow, what would that be? Sudhir, we would like to start with you.
Okay. I ensure that I do a 1 hour workout every day, whether it is cycling or whether it is walk, keeping my phones and my laptops away. You know?
Okay.
A 1 hour workout is very important for me. And secondly, in my entire day, I ensure that I walk up to the shop floor and walk to a lot of employees. So it's not only a setting job. I ensure I meet the people, I engage with them, and I also attend the shop floor in an entire day. This is a daily routine practice which I do. One thing which I need to adopt is I need to drink a lot of water, where the percentage of drinking water is very minuscule these days.
Okay. Okay. All right. Trilok, what about you?
uh, something in a similar lines to what Sudhir mentioned, right? One thing that I do is I don't use the lift at the office.
Okay.
I pick the stairs, which brings in some kind of physical activity in my day-to-day routine as well. And secondly, I ensure that during dinner, I sit with my family, my wife and other relatives at home, just to ensure that the family bonding and mental wellness component also comes into our day-to-day life.
Okay. That's great. Thank you so much, Sudhir and Trilok, for sharing
You
such great insights with us. And with this, we would wrap up today's webcast. We have a couple of more questions coming in, which I would request the speakers to take offline. Once again, we thank our today's webcast partner, ekincare, and our speakers for their invaluable information that they have shared with us today. Meanwhile, you can provide your feedback in the survey link provided in the chat section because your input matters. That concludes today's webcast. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nilanjana. Thank you, Tilok. It was
Thank you,
nice.
Sudhir.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nilanjana. Bye-bye.